It's crazy to think that here we are 15 weeks later, and there are some of us that have been along for the Aquatope ride this whole time. We've watched Fuuka and Kukuru struggle to find their place in the world and how they mounted those less than optimal situations. This week seems to be more of the same, but I think we're beginning to see that first shift of the second core. There's no telling what we're building up to this time, though, which can be used as a means to explain some rather high-spirited and interesting moments this week. At this point, everyone has a role to play as the focus has shifted primarily to Kukuru now. Before I move on to my initial thoughts for the week, let me get a few reminders out of the way first. Remember, we are shooting for that 250 sub goal by the end of the year this year and that 1000 by Anime Expo next summer, where if we get really close, hit or break that 1000 sub goal range, I will cosplay in person, the full cosplay at the Expo as Inori Yuzuriha. Consider that my thanks for hitting 1000 if we do reach it. Next up is my Pokemon only second channel, which is LuriTsuN, where I'm going to be uploading any Pokemon challenges coming sometime next week just because there is a lot to do with that video still. And last but not least, the 200 sub goal for the Patreon. I will be making my Patreon page available when we hit 200 subs, and I will have the reward information available on that very same day. So definitely make sure you're subscribing and leaving some comments and some likes. It lets me know what you like the best, and it helps me to tailor future content for you. Alright, let's get the rest of this show on the road. This week was more of the same, but not more of the same. The Gama group hasn't quite found their niche yet, which is interesting. In some ways, this kind of feels like a clash of ideals. I mean, just look at the way they come across to everyone else. While I'm certainly no fan of negative opinions, it makes me wonder, why does it seem like everyone who came from Gama is being put in this seemingly negative light? Then there's Kukuru, who seems almost detached from the Gama family at times. Although she has enough freedom to move around when it's work-related, other than that, things are moving right on along. Fuuka had her few minutes this week, and Kukuru took home the gold. It could be I misread the situation, but perhaps Kai has some feelings for Kukuru? I personally still think he has feelings for Fuuka, and his reaction to her presence this week kinda helps solidify that. Aquatope has been a wild ride from the start, and this week was really no different. Unfortunately, Fuuka just did not have enough time in the limelight this week. Therefore, I will be combining both Fuuka and Kukuru into this chapter of the video. This will allow me to reference them both without having to split things up too much. With Fuuka's return, Kukuru has been working harder than ever and trying to use the knowledge she has from Gama into her new role. There's definitely a few speed bumps, but she's slowly working things out. Having Fuuka in the same building as her again is definitely giving Kukuru a mood boost. Also having Kari-chan and marketing with her is another big help. Plus, she seems to be getting along with Akari-chan very well too. So her work relationships are certainly improving, but her relationship with the assistant director really has not budged. She gets thrown projects out of the blue and is then expected to pick up the slack for the little warning she was given of all the other departments. Yeah, that's kind of not cool. What's more is that she doesn't really defend herself or explain that she's been shortchanged. I would just really like to see Kukuru stand up for herself and push back a little bit sometimes, which she does a little bit this episode, but she gets wrung out by the assistant director anyways. Kukuru just can't seem to find her footing yet, but Fuuka is doing rather exceptional. Her relationships are coming along without a hitch, and Chiyu is not being obstructive, at least not too much. As per usual, Fuuka is the mediator between Chiyu and Kukuru, although I think she's just going to start letting these things work themselves out. Besides that, she seems to be enjoying her job at Tingaara just fine. She's always excited to bring children and other guests into the fold, which is excellent. Everyone needs that social interaction, and Fuuka being able to do what she does best is, well, best. Although, she definitely knows Kukuru is overwhelmed and struggling to gain a foothold at Tingaara. It's pretty obvious when Fuuka comes bursting into the back room announcing that Kukuru almost forgot about the newest behind-the-scenes tour. Needless to say, a certain someone was not happy about that. I really don't know what these two would do without each other. Alright, let's start a new chapter this week, say, Tingaara. A few weeks back, I said I was not a big fan of the Tingaara staff. At the time, I wasn't, but I figured my impressions would change, and they did. Well, there's definitely still some anti-Gama sentiment that lingers in the air. Everyone is beginning to get used to each other, and some new relationships are starting to bud. Eiji and Kai have developed a tight work relationship, perhaps a good friendship too, and it doesn't necessarily surprise me. There's really no one else for Kai to work with that is similar in age and experience. Plus, Eiji is a pretty nice guy and definitely speaks his mind, which makes for some interesting situations. Kuya seems to be adjusting too, Well, he did until he found out that Kaoru was a woman, and we all know how Kuya does with women. Quite like a fish out of water. Come to think of it, we never really got more than an episode of actually decent character development for him. It's no wonder the Tingaara staff think that Gama is a bit of a mixed bag. What I still don't like about the Tingaara staff, not those who transferred from other aquariums, is that they all act like business and profit are the most important things to Tingaara. Now, don't get me wrong, they are important, yes, but suggesting that the sea slugs should not be fed when it was Kukuru who had to come up with the idea is a crappy idea, and I don't think I'd call it narrow-minded though. If things go wrong or don't go as planned, someone has to take responsibility, and that's what Kukuru is fully prepared to do. I see nothing wrong with that approach. It's the assistant director who needs to be doing his job and help with operations around Tingaara. I understand that being tough on Kukuru is encouraging her to grow and be more responsible, but she's not getting praise for doing her best and improving. That is an excellent way to kill morale and have people ultimately end up leaving. Since the second core began a few weeks ago already now, a lot of what has been going on in the relationship department with Fuuka and Kukuru has taken a back seat. For some, I could see this being kind of a disappointment. However, we're actively seeing Kukuru's world expand. She's beginning to understand that what they are able to accomplish now versus then is a lot different. The world is a big place, but having Fuuka around definitely makes it seem a little bit less broad. As we saw from episode 13, Kukuru must be ready to be an adult, but that doesn't mean she has to give up what brought her this far. That semi-childish nature she has is a wonderful little thing, and it's what makes Kukuru, Kukuru. Furthermore, I think with having Fuuka back and now having a permanent role back at Tingaara, it's beginning to become more and more apparent that she has an effect on everyone. And I think this week's after credits scene really kind of brings that home. Kai is comfortable with doing what he knows best, and is still playing an active role in supporting Kukuru. So it really seems that Fuuka is just about the biggest influence to everyone. The relationships between everyone in Tingaara have definitely improved, and I think this is going to begin to set up some very wholesome moments come towards the end of the final few episodes. While things are definitely beginning to slow down a little bit in the Aquatope world of things, I don't think it'll be too long before things really begin to ramp back up. We definitely do still have a little bit of a chunk left of this anime, so let's see where it goes from here. After all, this being a 24-episode anime, there's still plenty of room to really begin expanding the dynamics of this anime in typical PA Works fashion. As always, where things go from here, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Eventually, everything is going to be pieced together, and we're gonna find something really wonderful, I think. So if you're just as excited to see where Aquatope goes from here as I am, then definitely make sure you stick around week to week. These reviews will be up on Fridays, and if not on Friday, it will be the following day on Saturday. And as always, thank you guys for the incredible support on the Aquatope videos that I've been doing now for the last about a month or so that you guys have really turned out for these. So if you are enjoying what I'm doing here, definitely consider subscribing and leaving a like and a comment. Helps me know what you want to see. Alright, I'm going to close things out here, so thank you all for watching, and thank you to that select few of you who make it this far into the video. I will see you all next week with something brand new, and I will see you on Friday as well with episode 16 of Aquatope on the White Sand. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.